octopus birria taco. And this one I'm gonna be making birria tacos with octopus. So first off, we're gonna start off with the base for this braising liquid. So, got 2 yellow onions here. What I'm gonna do is I got my oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm just gonna go ahead and break these onions apart into little petals. Then just about a cup of garlic, a little bit of oil all over that. Pop that right into the oven. Okay, now for the spice blend. It looks like a lot, but it's not that bad. So, Mexican oregano, ginger, coriander, clove, some black peppercorn, chipotle, cumin. This is going to be for the birria spice blend that I'm making here. So, just on a little tray like this, do about a tablespoon of cumin, coriander, tablespoon of black pepper, and then my chipotle pepper. If you guys are wondering about all the spices I have here, this is Spiceology. I am partnered with them. Really great stuff. Now, when toasting your spices, it's so much easier just to put it all on a tray like this and then toss it in the oven for a couple minutes. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Now, for the chiles, this is going to be basically the base of our flavor here. I've got chile guajillo and chile ancho. That's what I'm using here. You can also do chipotle like I did earlier. If you can get the canned one, that's even better. And then pull the seeds out of each one. Now, be mindful, this stuff will stay on your hands for a while, so don't be like me, use gloves if you can. So at this point, what I am doing is called reconstituting the chili. So I'm gonna go ahead and toast them off. You can toss them in the oven if you want. It's always best to just toast them off, it gets more flavor. So I'm just gonna toss them into this skillet. You can do a cast iron skillet or a carbon steel, just like this one. Just give them a quick toasty toast. Also be mindful, this is gonna be really strong. You might start coughing and stuff, so make sure you have a ventilated area, your fan's on and all that stuff. So something that a lot of people might not know about chile guajillo is these are just chili Anaheims. These are Anaheim chilies that have just been dried out. Now for the ancho, these are just poblano chilies that have been dried out. Their flavor changes a lot when they're dried out. I might do an episode later on how to dry your own chilies. That'd be pretty cool. I'm just gonna toss them into any random container, or you could do it in the same pot. And then I just cover this with some hot boiling water. Then just cover that up, let that chill for about 5 minutes or so they can soften up. Okay, now back to the spices. If you have a coffee grinder, that's cool. I'm just gonna toss them in the blender here. And then because I want my oregano blended, I'm just gonna toss about a tablespoon in the blender as well. Now I just toss all that into the bowl. I'm just gonna add some ground ginger to this blend, about a tablespoon of that. And then just about a teaspoon of cinnamon as well. That little tossy toss. Got our blend ready to go. Okay, I've got my chilies constituted, I've got my blend, onions are in the oven. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and blend it together so I can start braising my octopus. So go ahead and take your chilies out of the liquid. Make sure not to use this liquid because it's gonna be kind of bitter. So we're gonna go ahead and toss this liquid and use some other water. Toss some water in there. It doesn't matter how much because remember we're just blending. We're blending here, we're gonna braise it. Toss our spices on in there too. Then some lime juice. Rice wine vinegar. Our charred onions and garlic go in there. Birria base. You can use this with other stuff. Meat, chicken, whatever. I'll just go ahead and toss this into a large braising pot and then just fill this up with water. Now, if you want, you could do fish stock, chicken stock. Water is totally fine if you want just like straight octopus flavor in this. Okay, so I've got one of these little guys right here. It's a little Spanish octopus. Got it frozen, let it thaw for a few days in the fridge. Now with these guys, it's either cook them fast in a pressure cooker for 15 minutes or cook them long in a braise like this for about 2 hours. So I'm just gonna go ahead and also give them a little dip first so I can curl the legs. Bring it up. You see how the legs are curling? Drop it in one more time. Bring it up again, and then you should have nice curly legs, and now I can just drop it in completely. Now everything's in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and cover that up. Toss that into the oven. Okay, so I set my timer for 2 hours. I wanna make sure to check it before then because I don't want this to overcook. When octopus overcooks, it's just really gummy and gross and weird. That's why you either cook it long or slow. Now right here, I'm low and slow, 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 2 hours. So once your octopus is fully cooked off, just go ahead and check it, you know, feel it out. If it feels a little too firm, then you cook it longer, but about 2 hours is what I want here. Sort of lay that on a sheet tray with a rack, and we need to let this cool in the fridge. I'm gonna toss this into the fridge right now and just let this cool off completely because right now it's gonna be super delicate. It needs to sort of set up. Now this is gold right here. This is our consomme. This braising liquid, it's got all the flavor in it. This is what we're gonna use to dip our tacos in, and it's just so delicious. You could reduce this down a little bit until it's thicker. To me, this is just perfect right now, so I'm just gonna let this cool off as well. Okay, while that's cooling off, I'm gonna make the tortillas. Now, I have videos on making corn tortillas in the past. I've made corn tortillas from scratch with the actual corn and the nixtamalization process. Now, you can just do this with maseca, you know, just instant masa. This is a totally fine alternative and it takes like 5 minutes. So now, honestly, you don't need my instruction. There's instructions on the bag usually when you buy it. I eyeball this stuff because I'm already at that point. So it's very simple. It's just the instant masa plus the warm water. And then I like to add flaky salt to mine. I just want to give this a good mix for about 3 minutes or so. Now, if you've done this right, this is the texture that we should be getting. It shouldn't be sticking to your hands. It should be smushing well. It should not be cracking on the corners. If it's cracking on the corners, it's too dry. Add a touch more water. Now, if you want to be super consistent with these, you could just weigh them or use a little scooper or something. I just eyeball it as well. Go ahead and toss it into another container, like a bowl like this, and make sure to keep it covered with a damp towel so it doesn't dry out while you're cooking them. Now, one of the restaurants that I worked at, we had to grind the corn every day. And this is something we had to do on the line actually, is form these balls, but you have to do it really fast. So it's something that you just get used to. I actually have that video on my YouTube channel on that restaurant I'm talking about. So if you search it up, probably like under my fresh corn tortillas, you'll find it. Okay, now here's how I do my corn tortillas. I use Ziploc bags that I cut into little circles like this. Ball down. Plastic on top of that. Give it a little smush real quick. And then press. And this is what you're left with. Then there's just corn tortillas, simple, easy, homemade. Go ahead and use a carbon steel pan or a cast iron skillet or a comal, something like that. Get this on about high heat, medium heat. And here's another little trick I'll do when making tortillas. I'll take the cooked one and then just set it on top of the one that's cooking and just keep my stack going. And this will help them to steam out and get softer over time. Okay, so now here's something that you will run into. A lot of people probably don't realize this, but it's not done when you pull it off of the stove, okay? You will notice that it's gonna be pretty solid. You see that? It's pretty stiff. That's a stiff tortilla. So you don't wanna have a stiff, hard tortilla. What you do is just go ahead and stack them up and you toss them into a vessel with a towel just like that, and then you just let them steam out and they will soften up over time. And then you'll see the stack is nice and suave, soft. See, now that That's a soft tortilla right there. You see it doesn't stand up, it's just limp. Your octopus should be chilled and harden up just like this. And what I'm gonna do is just sort of portion this out into nice thin slices so I can crisp it up. I'm also going to remove the beak. That is in the middle section of the octopus right here. You'll find the beak right in the center. There we have a beautiful octopus birria taco. This broth is insane. Oh my God.